Hello, everybody. I'm here today with Lionel Chmielewski. Lionel joined Corero, which is a cybersecurity specialist, approximately a year ago, in the middle of this pandemic. He had a couple of conversations, I think, with the primary board, and then he joined the company. Now, he must be doing something well because the performance is definitely going in the right direction. But it's probably been a bit of an experience. I'll be keen to find out from Lionel how he's found it. Lionel, thank you very much for joining me. How has been the virtual onboarding experience of the organization that you've joined?
Well, thank you, Ravi, for inviting me today to share this unique experience, obviously. So it's been a very interesting experience, basically. I joined the company, as you said, having met only 3 people from the company, and then started May the 1st. And since then, haven't met any single of my colleagues. So that is unique. That's the first unique thing. The other unique thing is that it was the first time in my 25 years of career that I've worked from home, and this for a full year. Never happened to me. So that was interesting. At the same time, because people were using more the internet, the demand for cybersecurity solutions grew very significantly. So I had to deal with 2 phenomena. One was working in a different environment, not meeting with people, and then having to deal with a business that was growing. So this is the thing we had to tackle. A number of things that we've done, and it's always about the same thing. When you work in a different environment, you need to adapt yourself, you need to adapt your processes, you need to adapt, I would say, the way you work with people to the situation. So the difficult part of it was that, it could be very tempting for people to start to be isolated, to start to disconnect with the business, to start to disconnect with the people. So basically, the very first thing I did was really to put a series of initiatives in place to make sure that the communication flow was going on. So we did a number of things. We did some formal meetings with the senior management team, and I did the one-on-one meetings with each of my senior management team. We did meetings as a team, so all the senior management team as a team. We did meetings as well with the whole staff, all the employees. We increased the frequency of that. So it used to take place every month. During the pandemic, we did that every week. And then, at the same time, I had to go rapidly on the learning curve. So to make sure I understood the business, to make sure I understand the customers, to make sure I understand the differentiators, to make sure I understand the processes. So all of that at the same time, which made it very exciting, but also hard work at the same time. But at the end of the day, as you said, Ruby, we grew very nicely in 2020. The team continued to work very well together. So that was a very positive experience. It has created a very different behavior among the team, which was the behavior of helping the other to make the collective work be efficient. So I think that was really interesting. And the last thing I wanted to do, which is probably the most important one, is I really want to thank all my colleagues for their contribution in my onboarding. They did a great job in sharing information, communicating, and in working as a team. So thank you again to all the great colleagues of Corero.
Lionel, starting in any company as a CEO is a tough gig. Yeah, especially when you're trying to go through the onboarding. So it's really interesting just to hear some of what you've done to get the internal culture right, to make it work for you and make the experience a positive one. What I'd be keen to understand is, how have you adapted your working style to get the similar engagement with your customers and partners? Because there's quite a rich community that works with Corero to deliver solutions, as well as your customers that you deliver solutions to. How has that changed?
Well, the thing is, You're right. We have a very diverse base of customers, base of partners, also different types of employees. You know, people being very sales oriented, people being very technical oriented. People having most of the people had been with the company for quite a while. So I had basically to understand what the situation is. It's always tempting when you're starting a job. You need to understand, you know, what's the background, what's the history, what's the mindset of the company. We did a number of things, and that's probably my character, and that's probably was I was taken on board. We really made sure that the company was very customer centric. So the very first thing I said to all my colleagues was, we are all in sales. I wanted to make sure that there was one goal, which was really to have a customer-centric, customer-focused approach to the business. Despite the fact that technology is very important, because this is what brings the differentiators. But the thing is, I wanted to make sure that everybody had the collective sense of growing the top line and being driven by customers' requirements, and not only by very good products, very good solutions. I wanted to make sure that the driving factor of the company were the customers. So basically, we've done that. I shared my values when I started the business. I made sure that, you know, it was very clear about this customer-centric approach to the business. And then, you know, I did, and we've done our homework, trying to understand the situation, the background with customers, trying to spend more time. And, you know, it's more constraintful because you're probably getting only 70 to 80% of the content when you're doing that virtually. So there's still those 20, 30% missing that you need to grab one way or the other. One way to grab it is to do another meeting, to try to get a remaining 5, 10% and do another one. The other thing is to give yourself a discipline. So spending more time, going more into the details. So it's all about communication. It's all about recurrency of the communication. It's all about broadening with whom you're communicating. So I spend lots of time, you know, reaching out personally to some people with whom I didn't have, obviously, a relationship, to build that relationship or to start to build that relationship. So you need to take your PC, write emails, reach out to people, spend time with people. As I said, you cannot say we are all in sales and we are customer centric and not apply that rule as a CEO of the company. So I connected with people directly on LinkedIn, whatever. I connected to people I knew from the past, but also some new people, and started to build that relationship. And I think that was extremely important. We have people we've been working with for many years. We have partners like Juniper, like GTP that we've been working with for many years. But we had some new people in town, and we had to make sure that the relationship was built. The thing is, you need to set up your expectations to different levels. Clearly, because once again, you only get 70 to 80% of the content at the first time, so you need to catch up with that. You need to keep in mind that probably things will take longer time to be decided or to be implemented. So you need to set your expectations accordingly.
I think that's a very interesting answer. One of the other things, just on the back of that, one of the things that hasn't come through is Carrera is a truly international company. I mean, I think you're based in Paris. Headquarters is in the UK. I think you've got a pretty substantial outfit in the US and global customers. So, you know, different time zones, lots of things happening. What will be your top priorities when travel can happen again for yourselves? I mean, you talked about the 20, 30%, and what impact do you think that will have in your business?
Well, my first priorities will clearly be to meet face-to-face with people. So obviously, I'm going to start with my teams. I'm going to go to whatever is going to be permitted first. So, you know, I will have to be in London, where we have the headquarters of the company and we have employees there. I have to go to Boston, where we have all our marketing operations, IT, and I have to go to Edinburgh where we have our R&D guys. So I will need to catch up, make it up for the time I didn't spend with them, and try to understand more about them, to get basically the non-business things as well, because that's important. When you do video conferences, you're very you are very about the business. You are very about the points you need to discuss, the agenda and things like that, and you miss the other part of getting to know someone, which is more the social, getting to know each other, to become more operational, more efficient when you deal with them. So I'm clearly missing that part. So this is something I'm going to try to get when I meet with people. And so that's the first thing. So meeting the employees, the teams, the colleagues. That's the very first thing. Second thing, obviously, as I said, we are customer centric. So I want to spend time with our customers, people with whom we build a relationship. I want to spend time with our partners. We did spend lots of time virtually, but it's different when you're face to face. And then third thing, I want to increase or amplify my business development activity. So go and meet with people that are not existing customers, but might become future customers or partners. So that nothing very extraordinary there, but because I didn't do that for the last 12 months, that's something I'm going to jump to.
And how has the business remained on top on measuring the balance between efficiency, mental well-being, and overproductivity?
Well, that's a very important point, Ravi. The danger there is to believe that everybody will feel as you feel in such a situation, and not take into consideration the fact that people might have different working from home environment. People might cope very well with being isolated. Some other people might not accept that. So you need to take the fact that people will react differently in such a situation. So it's extremely important first to take the pulse of the company, of each individual, of teams, to make sure that you are doing the right things and you're not missing something that could be serious. So once again, all the meetings we put in place, all the communication that we've increased, we spent also lots of time, and this is one of the very first things I did when I joined the company. We spent lots of time in explaining the strategy and reporting on the progress made against the strategy. So it's very important for people to feel that they are part of a global team, that they are contributing, that they are getting report on how it's progressing. And we really increase that communication around, the business, around the strategy, to make sure that people were not left alone. So that's one thing. The other thing, as I said, is to measure every day, every hour, the pulse and how people are feeling, either directly or through your management team. The very first question that I ask my senior managers when I do the one-on-one with them on a weekly basis is, how is your team? And it's very important, because, as I said, people might react very differently in a specific environment. So I believe we did a good job there. It's never perfect, but I think we are asking the questions. We implemented few initiatives to make sure that people could work in a more efficient manner, but also comfortable manner. And I insist on the comfortable part of it, while they were working from home. To help them to, have decent IT devices, to have decent infrastructure, being more flexible. That's the thing. You need to adapt yourself and your management style and your strategy to the situation. So if people, have been working very hard from 8 to, 5 non-stop Zoom conferences or meetings, conferences, video conferences, you need to take that into account and make sure that they have some time to breathe. They have some time to think about other things. We also try to do, and it's an anecdote, but we also try to do when we present the strategy, the reporting on the progress. We also try to keep a part which is linked to things that are aside of the business, things they want to share about trips they've made, about sports, about family. So to kind of keep this kind of social discussion with them. I think we did a pretty good job, as I said, and we'll keep on doing that as long as it's requested.
Obviously, there's certain things that the virtual environment has engendered and positives that have come out of that. What little things do you think you'll be keeping going forward as we come out of lockdown?
Well, I think we all learned, I'm sure it's the same on your side, we all learned that we could work differently and sometimes less efficiently, but sometimes more efficiently. So I think we will take the things that we've done and that really drove to more efficiency. Some in the past we were taking a plane whenever there was a meeting with a customer or with a partner. And sometimes, you were spending, I don't know, in best cases, couple hours, in the worst cases, tens of hours in the plane commuting. And quite frankly, we learned that we could avoid some of that. And I'm not saying all of that, but avoid some of that by doing a conference call and efficiently. So I think the lesson here is that I believe we found the happy medium between doing it too much and not doing it at all. And I think people, because it's taken place for a full year, so I think we've had time to measure what was working, what was not working, and we'll be more efficient in our trips. We'll be more efficient in meetings. We'll probably be more efficient in sticking to the points. Many companies, when they go to meetings, they start to talk about lots of things. When you know that you have only 30 minutes on the conference call and then you have your next one, you go straight to the point. So we'll take the good things of what virtual setting has brought, but also we'll add on top of that the social dimension and the human dimension that we all need.
Thank you, Lionel. And my final question would be, as a CEO, what are you most mindful of when you're leading an international organization within a virtual setting? And considering we're going forward, we're hoping everyone slowly comes out of lockdown and probably go to a bit of a hybrid setting, hopefully across Europe and across the globe. I mean, I know some parts are coming out of it already, but what are you most mindful of?
Well, I think the first answer to the question is you need to take care of people. You need to, especially, as I said, when you're working in such a challenging environment. I mean, at the end of the day, the success of the company is all about people. You need to have a good product, you need to have good customers, but all of that is built by people. So you need to take care of your people. You need to make sure that they are comfortable in the environment that is going on. You need to make sure that you have to be flexible when there's a change of environment. You need to make sure that you are communicating enough with your people. People always believe, and I've seen that with many CEOs, with many top managers, they have the impression that they are communicating because they know the background, they know what's behind. But sometimes you need to spend more time to explain more in details. And you need to be mindful of that when you're working in challenging environments. So as I said, for me, that's one of the things that is extremely important when you're working in such an environment. Number two is when you're working in a difficult environment, you need to be a guide to your people. So some people cope very well with that environment, as I said, but some people need help. They need direction. They need guidance. They need explanation. So that's where the CEO, obviously, but also the senior managers and the managers need to be there for their teams. They need to build the framework that's going to make their team be more comfortable. Third point is, and we're learning that now, but we learned that in the past when there was a financial crisis, when there were some other events. There's no one size fits all. And you need to make sure that what you're doing is in line with the situation. You need to make sure that, not everything has to be taken for granted. So there were things you were doing in such circumstances that might not apply in other circumstances. So you need to challenge yourself. You need to challenge your management style. You need to challenge your strategy to make sure that this is flexible, that this is more than reactive, this is proactive. So you need to anticipate those things. And last but not least, don't underestimate the ability of people to adapt themselves to either favorable situations, but difficult situations. So you need to take that into account. I've been extremely surprised, positively surprised by the reaction of my teams in front of the pandemic. And as you mentioned, if you look at the performance, we did well. It's never a done deal. So once you've done well, you need to do well again and again. You need to build that sustainability and recurrency. But I've been very impressed by the mindset of the people, by the team spirit. And it is when you are in tough times that you see the team building up together, and that's very encouraging.
Thank you very much, Lionel. That was really, really insightful. I'm sure there are going to be CEOs out there, as well as other individuals listening to this, finding some of those words of wisdom very, very, very useful. It's been a pleasure to actually spend time with you and actually talk to you a year on, having placed you in Carrero, just to see that, you have managed to navigate yourself in what one would call very choppy waters and come out the other end heading in the right direction. So long may it continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robbie. And this is in difficult situations that you see people or companies that are performing. So there's always a good side on the bad side, and that's my philosophy.